Okay, number 11 is rendezvous. Rendezvous. And this, I think, is probably originally a French word. But anyway, we use it all the time in English. Nowadays, it is not pronounced rendezvous or rendezvous. And it's basically a meeting or gathering. It's usually between two people. And an example might be, let's have a rendezvous tomorrow afternoon. Or let's rendezvous tomorrow afternoon. Okay, number 12 is espresso and not espresso. Okay, and the definition is a strong coffee made by forcing steam through grounds. It's actually just basically really heavily concentrated coffee. It's not diluted with any hot water or milk or anything like that, like many coffees are. So it's just a shot of coffee. An example, I need an espresso to wake up in the morning. 13 is February. And I'll be honest, some British people do say February, and maybe I do too. Oops. And it's fine for this one. You can say February. However, the traditional pronunciation is February. February. Ooh, bit of a mouthful. And, you know, this is the second month of the year. After January and before March. For example, Valentine's Day is in February. And it will probably be February by the time you see this video. 2029. Okay, number 14 is library. Library, not library. This one, you should say library. Really, library. However, again, some people may say library. And this is a place where books are kept. You probably have one in your school or university when you were there, or your previous school or university. For example, I borrowed a book from the library. Number 15 is pronunciation. And many people get this wrong. They say pronunciation because the verb in its standard form is to pronounce. However, the noun is pronunciation. Pronunciation. And this is the way a word is spoken. So we are covering pronunciation today. That's an example. Number 16 is etc. etc. And again, some people do lazily say etc. However, the correct pronunciation of this is etc. And this is used to indicate other similar items. For example, I teach idioms, phrasal verbs, slang, business English, pronunciation, etc. Okay. Number 17 is Arctic. Arctic. And it is not correct to say Arctic. You need to pronounce the C, the K, which is Arctic. And this relates to the North Pole region. For example, polar bears live in the Arctic. 18, specifically. Specifically. Not pacifically. Okay? This is a common error. And this means in a detailed and precise way. There are specifically 33 different words in this class. For example, I specifically asked for no onions on my burger. I love onions. Number 19 is prescription. And not prescription, but prescription. Not prescription, prescription. And this is a doctor's written order for medicine. For example, I need to pick up my prescription after work. Okay, 20 is salmon. The L is silent. It is not salmon, it is salmon. And this is a type of fish. For example, grilled salmon is my favourite dish. I love salmon too. I'm getting hungry. 21 is debris. Debris, not debris. Debris. And this is waste, scattered pieces of waste or remains. For example, the storm left debris all over the street. 22 is coup. Coup, not coop. Not coop. And this is a sudden and decisive action or takeover. For example, the general led a coup to overthrow the organisation. 23 is subtle. Subtle, not subtle. The B is silent, and this means delicate or not obvious. Like if I mention that I also have a pronunciation course on my website, that's quite subtle, random, and a little bit subtle, rather than saying, come and check out my pronunciation course on my website, which is just not subtle at all. That's the definition. For example, I do have pronunciation courses on my website. Anyway, 24 is almond.